Well, good morning from Pike County, Illinois, here on the final day of June 2026. It is June 30th. Boy, is it hot. It has been in the 90s with high humidity, with a heat index of about 108, 110. Boy, howdy, it's hot. And I'm one of those people that I just do my best to survive summer. I love the other three seasons, but summer, it's a tough one. And it's amazing to see the changes of the season. The corn, I can look out my window right now and see corn 6 feet high and tasseling, which is crazy. When I was a kid, they said knee high by 4th of July. It's June 30th, and that corn is 6 foot high. It's amazing how things have changed. But it's been a busy season. I've not produced a podcast in about 6 weeks, and it had been a few weeks between the last episode as well. We have entered the busiest time of the year with camp and just church activity and family activity. And we had a baby, of course, so life has been busy. And I want to talk about busy seasons and about choosing what you're neglecting. There's an old quote that talks about choosing your hard. So life is hard all the time, but choose which hard thing you're going to do. Choose your hard. For example, you can go and work a job, make an income, pay your bills, and that's hard. Or you can be homeless. Which one do you want to choose? Choose your hard. You can pay a mechanic a lot of money, usually wait a long time to get your car fixed, or you can go to YouTube University, figure out how to do it yourself. Both of those are hard, and you have to choose your hard. In that scenario, I've done it both ways, where I'm paying a guy to do it or I'm figuring out myself. I had to do this a while back. I had a mystery with my truck, could not figure it out. I tried everything I knew to do, even had some other friends look at it. We finally gave up. We could not diagnose the problem. And after already spending money and spending hours, we now went to a mechanic and he found the problem. He fixed the problem. So you choose your hard, and sometimes knowing which one to choose is not as easy. It's hard to be healthy. It's hard to eat right and not eat junk. It's hard to exercise, but it's harder to be so unhealthy you can't function. I'm learning that more and more. I have not taken care of my body. I have not eaten well my whole life. I'm a stress eater and I eat junk, and it's catching up to me more and more the older I get. And I'm trying to correct that. And it's hard, but I'm trying to choose the right hard thing to do. Life is full of this. It's hard to be married. Yeah, marriage is wonderful, but it's hard. It's hard to be married. It's harder to be alone, in my opinion. Some would say they'd rather be alone than be married, but you've got to choose your hard. Which hard choice are you going to choose? On that same way of thinking, of choosing which hard choice you're going to follow, I should finish that thought out though with, it's hard to be a Christian sometimes. It's harder not to be. Choose your hard. On that same thought process, we're always neglecting something. Always. Right now I'm at my office, which means I'm not at home with my family. So I'm neglecting them. Now that sounds harsh to word it that way, but that's the reality. I am neglecting time I could be with them because I'm here working. There's times where I'm neglecting my sleep because I'm trying to do my job and take care of my family and all my responsibilities. So what gets neglected is sleep. There's times you work through lunch because you have to always neglect something, always. And we have to choose which item, which category we're neglecting at that moment. In these last few weeks, I've neglected this podcast because I just had many, many things that I could not keep up with. We had our church anniversary, which went wonderfully. We had 120 people here on Saturday, and I think it was 82 the Sunday. It was a very wonderful crowd. But I have been neglecting everything building up to that. Knocked on hundreds of doors. We mailed out over 100 postcards. We've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people and just worked so hard to get what we had there. And so everything else took the back burner for a little while. Hence why I still haven't painted this office that desperately needs to be painted. I had to choose to neglect certain things. And then immediately after our anniversary service, we had high school camp at the camp, which required me to be at camp the whole week. So I was neglecting everything else. I spent 0 office hours that week because I was down the road at the camp. But even at that, my wife got sick that week, and I had to choose, what do I neglect? Do I make her stay home sick, or do I go home and help her? Well, I couldn't go be with her the whole time, but I tried to, as hour by hour, choose where am I going to be. And when the camp was in good hands and there was a window of opportunity, I'd go home. I'd neglect the camp so I could be with her. And at night, every night but one, I went home to be with her, neglecting what I should have been doing at camp. And I only could do that because I had enough help. You're always choosing what you neglect. And I realized something that week at camp. My wife had an infection. She's doing fine now. But she had a fever and was very sick. And the doctor told her the reason she wasn't recovering very fast was she was too exhausted. She wasn't getting enough rest. And I realized something. I choose often to neglect my sleep. I choose often to neglect leisure. I'm spending so many hours working that I'm neglecting my rest, which I thought wasn't affecting me so much, but I realized something. It was affecting her. So I started doing something about 2 weeks ago I haven't done in the year and a half I've been in Detroit. I started taking days off. I've literally not taken days off for the last year and a half, except maybe a rare occasion. I would take moments off. Say I'll take the afternoon off, the morning off, whatever. But I started taking Mondays and Saturdays, where Monday is more of a get stuff done around the house day, and Saturday is more of a family day. And I may, make a visit or something that day, but I'm trying to give them more time because I realized I was neglecting the wrong thing. So the point of all this, you have to choose what you're neglecting. I've already said I've had to neglect this podcast. I think now I'll be able to make content a little bit more consistently, but you're always choosing something to neglect. Do you know which thing you're neglecting at this point? And are you willing to shuffle around as needed? Are you willing to make those adjustments where it's needed? Which hard thing are you choosing? Sometimes the hard thing you choose is easy in the moment. The hardship is delayed. It's a delayed hardship. For instance, eating junk food and not getting enough sleep. It may not affect you in the short term, but in the long term, it most certainly will. I can neglect my church responsibilities, or I can neglect my family responsibilities, or which one of those is acceptable? Really, neither. And that's where in the book of Acts it talks about Peter told the church, he said, should we neglect the word of God to serve tables? And of course the answer was no. So which one of those is okay? On one scenario, you have preachers not studying the word of God to teach it so they can help tend to the widows. But the alternative is, here's a well-studied preacher, but the widows are starving to death. Which one of those is acceptable? The answer is neither. So in choosing which hard thing you're going to do, choosing which thing you neglect, you have to do a lot of delegating. Delegating is the most beautiful word that I'm starting to learn myself, that I don't have to do everything to ensure it's being done. It's our job to ensure these things are taken care of. That's why, as a family, if you're going to go out on a date night or do something with your wife, you delegate the child's responsibility to a babysitter. It's still your job to make sure they're taken care of. If I miss a Sunday as the minister, it's my job to make sure somebody else is teaching. When I was at the camp and I went home for a couple hours in the middle of the day to check on my wife, I had to make sure somebody was running things. We have to delegate. We have to choose our heart, and you have to intentionally choose which item you're neglecting. Because it is impossible to do everything. I was talking to somebody recently and I told him, I said, you know, I've observed you. You are a wonderful father. You're a wonderful husband, a wonderful Christian, a wonderful church member, a wonderful employee, a wonderful son, wonderful, all of those things. But you're not all of those at the same time. You have to start choosing which hat to wear when. And boy, that isn't all of us. We cannot do it all. It is impossible. So choose your hard, choose what you're neglecting, and learn the beautiful art of delegation. Well, how do you delegate? You have to train somebody to do it to your standard. The reason I could leave camp for a couple hours every day during camp was because the person who was the assistant dean has been my best friend for 15 years, and I know how he thinks, he knows how I think, and I knew he would do it to my standard because it was still my responsibility. I was able to delegate because of that. So it takes some time to develop the ability to neglect, to develop the ability to choose, and to delegate. But you're not going to accidentally do that. So find where you can start that process today.